Hey, welcome to the Artisan School, and it is Friday. It is coffee hour. The sun is rising, as are the technicians around the West Coast. So welcome everybody to the Artisan School. We teach Pianocraft. That's what we do. And today we're going into the Trapwork, and specifically the grand piano Trapwork. Now I need to kind of preface this and say, when I talk about, hold on, I need coffee. I'm already like trying to rush through what I'm saying just so I can take a drink. I'm like, let's wait. Oh, if you guys ever need the world's best coffee, if you guys are coffee drinkers, Andy, who's kind of behind the scenes here, does his own boutique small batch coffee beans, which will be available on the Artisan School website at some point too. So you can buy the actual artisan coffee that is always brewing here. Squirrel, Trapwork. When I talk about Trapwork, in this case, most of the times I'm talking about the pieces underneath the piano. I'm not talking about the Lyre box. I'm talking about the Trapwork, the arms, and the levers that are up inside of the piano. Specifically this. This is what it looks like. More or less, if you were to like look up inside the piano. And this is something that kind of stresses technicians out. And I'm kind of like putting myself out of that category, even though I'm in that category, because it really does. When you're looking at all these parts, when you're looking upside in the piano, you're looking at all of these little parts, and you need to absolutely keep them together. So when I'm first off disassembling this, so I'm taking everything apart and I'm putting it on the workbench, I am making sure that I'm doing one area at a time. I might even bring some blue tape and label, okay, this is the damper system. This is the sostenuto or bass lift system, part 1, part 2. And this is my una corda pedal. Questions about that? Has anybody played around with the Trapwork yet?
I've had to do a couple of different things where I had to add or correct the leather on like the soft pedal, una corda pedal, where leathers were missing or didn't, I needed to correct lost motion, that type of stuff. But I've not actually disassembled one.
Okay, okay. So what a lot of times can happen is when we're at the customer's house and there'll be weird creaks and squeaks and noises, and we look up in there, and sure enough, so much of everything that we're looking at here is crusty, it's corroded. A lot of historic pianos won't have these coil springs. They'll have some form of a leaf spring on the underneath side of the piano and a piece of leather here on the arms. And basically, as you press the pedal, the swing arm goes up and that rubs against that leaf spring. And that felt or that leather can get worn and corroded. So that's why we do this, is really to start replacing all of these felts and leathers, lubricating everything, cleaning everything, to really make sure that the whole pedal assembly, the whole Trapwork assembly is just dialed in, that we don't have any issues. This is a job that I will usually budget about 3 to 4 hours to do. It never really takes me that long, but I'd rather have more time than not enough. And so during that time, I'm going to be doing quite a few things. First off, I like using this. This is the Method cleaner in a rag, and I'm just going to clean all of the parts first. So I'm going to disassemble everything, and I'm going to go ahead and clean up everything, degrease stuff, make sure everything is clean, my surfaces are clean, and I'm good there. I'm also going to check for corrosion on the pins. So as you can see, there's these pins here. So I want to clean these pins using either like Brasso or what's it called, Stacy? Like Fritz or Splits or something?
Yeah, the Fritz.
Yeah, that stuff. Yeah, that. You can tell how often I use that. I use Brasso. I'm a Brasso guy. I don't know why. Maybe I like the smell of it more. Anyways, That is what I use for that. This is garbage. Don't use that. But tacky glue, use the normal kind, not the clear kind. I don't know why. I hate this stuff. It never sticks right. It takes way longer to dry. I don't know if the formula is different, but get tacky glue, but which is sold in just like every craft store. But get just kind of the normal kind. Hold on a second. I'll show you what the normal kind is.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have some in back. I know we do. So.
Oh yeah, I carry a mini bottle of it in my kit, my tool kit, for when I'm gluing on felt for the rest rails of my uprights, and I want to adjust that hammer rail. So yeah, this stuff. Get this stuff. You can even buy these cute little bottles, and it lasts forever still. So yeah, that tacky glue, and then I'll have a series of leather, felt, and this Bellyman felt. So, because sometimes you're going to run up against this where the bottom side of one of these swing arms needs to stop. And there's going to be a series of like thick felt that you need to cut to make it and glue that to the bottom side of the grand. And that way it stops the swing arm from moving further. So these are kind of the felts and leathers that I'll carry on hand. One other thing that I will carry, I didn't have any right now, but I usually will go to like a leather store or a boot shoe store. It's usually a Boots. And they'll have like bins of like nice leather like this. Like this is like almost 1/4 inch thick. This is like saddle leather. And they'll usually have a bin of it. You can say, hey, for $10, they'll give you just a big old roll of it. You know, just its odds and ends. They also make, and I think Shaft carries them, these punches. And those are great. They're kind of expensive. I think they're around $100 for a series of, I don't know the exact name, but they're like a punch that you can punch out perfect circles with from leather or felt. You just need a little mini sledgehammer and one of those punches, and those work great. Michael, do you have one of them?
You might find something similar to that in the leather section of your hobby store. You know, a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby may have some of that because they have a leather section.
That's right. That's right. And the Hobby Lobby leather section, that's funny you mentioned that, is pretty legit. Like it's strangely legit. I went there the other day because I was looking for something else for my kids, and I was like, wow, this has got a lot of cool stuff. So yes, Hobby Lobby has a lot of things like that.
You know, another place you were talking about, you know, a place that would sell, you know, boots and stuff like that, but you know, any store that might do, you know, farm stuff that might have some of that as well.
Exactly. I always have razor blades on me, and I've started carrying this, and I can't say enough good things about this. I've never been one to like write stuff, but ever since I got these little mini field journals, have you seen these? These are great. These are great to have in your bag. You can take notes, you can reminders, and you can write down specifics and it's a nice tangible thing. Plus it's kind of a fun, like, history book, just like to show where you were at and what you were working on. These are kind of fun to do, and it's nice to help take notes when you're doing a project like this. What you ran into, what you need to, what order, everything like that. So back to this. So what I'm going to be doing is just kind of slowly cleaning up each of these parts. So I'm going to I like to spray a little bit of this spray on a rag. And then I just kind of wipe down all the parts. Again, I'm taking, I think I said like three hours to do this. So I'm going to just take my time. I'm going to clean up everything. Usually the customer, when they see all this stuff is on the ground, they're like, all right, he's doing it. It's legit. It's going to happen. I'm excited. So just cleaning every little part. This is interesting. So these are from our Samet Grand. These are usually made of wood, unless you're in a maybe more entry-level piano. These are made of like a hard plastic. Checking everything now that it is plastics, just for any cracks and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is inspect all of these punchings. So these are they're usually made of a felt and not a leather. I would say 50-50 now that I say it out loud. 50-50 whether these are leather or they're felt. These are actually in good shape, so I'm going to keep them. But I am going to use some of my super lube and lubricate them. I'm going to lubricate the pin and lubricate them right there. Just because I want to be sure. I've gotten to this habit now, and I don't know if it's a good idea, where I just go like this, and it just, I just kind of stick it in the bottle, and it seems to do okay that way.
Real quick, David.
Yeah.
I found a new lubricant. I don't know, I said it like that. Lubricant at Walmart. That's in a tube like that. I think they call it zipper. It's like for zippers, but it's Teflon. It's Teflon based, and it reminds me a lot of Super Lube. I've been trying out. It's been working pretty good. I've been using it on Trapwork. I haven't had any issues. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it wasn't that expensive. I'm going to test it out a little more, and then I'll probably put a post about it. And I've been trying a new Teflon spray as well. That one I'm questionable. I have some questions about it. But, yeah, I'll keep everybody updated for that, for lubricants you can pick up at Walmart.
That would be awesome. Yeah, if we're able to find stuff like that that's more easily accessible and we don't have to go through, like, Shaft. Oh, my gosh, that's so good.
So, David, remind me, the Super Lube, is it a white lithium grease or type of thing?
Can you read that? It's it's a synthetic, clear, heavy duty, dielectric, food grade, clean. I don't know.
That stuff's like $7.
I feel like the clerk when Kevin McAllister from Home Alone is like, "Is this FDA approved?" He's like, "I don't know." So yeah, I mean, this is what we've been using, and we've been using it for a long time. But I would happily change to something else if there's something else that worked just as well or better, because I think these are kind of expensive. I've cleaned this. I'm also gonna, sometimes you're gonna have these are kind of a little swing arm guide. I like to lubricate that, the same thing, with a little bit of that Super Lube grease.
Yeah, here you go, David. This is what I have in my bag.
Oh. Where'd you get that?
I forget where I got it. I've had it around my toolboxes for a while.
I think you can pick that up at AutoZone.
Oh, AutoZone. Okay. Just so you all know that these are all I had on hand, but my favorite felt to use to replace these felts is actually the white Wurzen felt. So they sell a white Wurzen felt that's for front rail punchings. But what I do, and I'll kind of demonstrate it, is this is too kind of spongy, and it makes it very difficult. But with that white Wurzen felt, you are able to simply slice. I mean, you can kind of do it here, but you're able to roll and slice it in half or even less to get just that perfect size of felt. And so again, you can do that easily with that white Wurzen felt. Here it kind of disintegrates, but that's the felt that I use to kind of customize the you can kind of see what I just did. So that's what I'll do. I'll customize, because they don't make, they don't really make a felt that's that thin and that wide. So that's why I like to do a custom one that I slice by hand using the white Wurzen felt. So that's what I'll usually have if I don't have, if these are felted and I want to replace them. Usually that's the case, and it's really quick. It's pretty safe too, because they're not as spongy and compressed as these. I mean, look at, already you can see just like, what? So yeah, don't use these, use the white Wurzen felt. And I think those are available at Shaft. I actually think you can somehow, I think maybe even Howard Supply sells them.
And Pianoforte Supply.
Perfect. When you're inspecting these, it's a good time to, sometime, especially early on, I would take pictures and like label them, because I was so nervous about mixing anything up or forgetting a felt. So another thing that I used to do is I would take like a clicker pencil or something, and I'll just like scroll a line, so that when I removed the leather to replace it or felt to replace it, I knew exactly where to put, the new felt or leather on. So that's, again, you just want to replicate what was there, clean it, replicate it, lubricate it, and just go slow. Now, I do want to talk really briefly about the springs, whether sometimes you're going to get to customers and they're like, hey, this damper pedal or this, whatever is really stiff. Maybe let's just talk first about the damper pedal. And I've seen this a lot on Steinways, where I've actually removed this coil spring from the underneath side of the piano, and they were like, yes, that's it. So you can experiment with some of that. Just go ahead and removing these from time to time. Know that that's possible. Just make sure that those dampers and that everything is working again once you're done. Another thing you can do, if for some reason these are making a sound, sometimes they are clicking or doing something, you can thread a little piece of like red felt, cut it maybe 1/4 inch and thread it through, just in and out, weave it in and out, and that will help take away that click. So those are kind of little tricks when it comes to springs. Now, you're also able to do something with the una corda pedal. So this is the swing arm for that. This is that far left pedal. When you press it down, it moves the action over to the right. Now, you're able to adjust that tension. Can anybody tell me how? So if the customer's complaining like, hey, this feels like it's so hard, there's two things that we can do when they're saying, hey, it's so stiff. What are they? Anybody?
That the spring within the
go ahead,
piano?
Michael.
Yeah, the spring that's in the piano there on the right-hand side as you put the action is.
Whoa. There's like 20 people talking? Yes, it's that leaf spring on the right-hand side. I've literally taken it out and like jumped on it, like just so that I can loosen that spring tension and kind of bend that spring. So I've done that. Another thing, which is the low-hanging fruit, is lubricating that key bed with Teflon powder, because a lot of times it's that that key frame rubbing against the key bed and it's just tight there. So just keep that in mind. Those are some ways that you can go ahead and loosen that tension, because it's all about us customizing our customers' pianos for them. And so that's another thing that you can do. Usually these two, the una corda pedal and the damper pedal assembly, are the easiest to kind of make work and redo. It's this assembly that people usually kind of scratch their heads, because it's a two-parter. So the pedal goes down and then it pushes this rod, and then in turn it moves this assembly that moves this assembly, which moves the piston upwards, which makes it so that either the sostenuto works or the bass dampers lift. We did talk briefly, Skylar had mentioned like, hey, what's the protocol for these? If I have to replace one of these. And honestly, Skylar, having a small assortment of little dowels, different sizes, and then a little saw is definitely going to be their best bet. So that way you can cut it to size, and then having some little, and you can buy this little metal dowel stock, different sizes dowel stock, and then a drill. I told Stacy the other day, I saw what was it? Stacy, what was it? A Nissan NV Nancy Victor 200, was it?
Yeah.
It's a van. And I'm super jazzed because we need a fleet of these guys, and I want it to be the mobile workshop, because that would be sick. Like just to have that dialed in, shelves, a workbench, maybe a rollout chair, maybe I don't know. It would be fun.
That's what I got, David.
You do?
I have an NV 200 van.
I haven't seen it.
I posted a picture up in the feed a week or two ago.
Stacey, I need to see it.
You literally have it. Yeah. Totally vibing with you.
But that would be the perfect thing, because what Skylar was talking about is like having all of these little things so that it's a one-stop shop. Now, what we've done, because I was thinking about this the other day, that kind of stuff is easier to do in two scenarios. One, when you're starting out and you don't have that many appointments, so you're not blocked with a certain amount of time. So early on, as you're building your business, you might only have 2 appointments that day. So you can take 4 hours to be like, hey, Mrs. Smith, I know I'm here for a tuning, but I can go ahead and replace the dowels. I can go ahead and do a deep cleaning. Okay, great. The other thing is if you are ramped up and busier, if you only allow so many appointments, maybe it's 3 appointments a day, then you would have enough time. And all this to say is having these kind of tools and equipment on hand just makes it that much more profitable for you and for your customer. In reality, that's the case. Because if they can get it done right here, it might be $150 as opposed to having you go take something to your home shop, bring it back for $350. So everybody wins in that scenario. So the van idea, Michael, as soon as I get done here, I'm gonna go look at your van. But I'm more, as we as Artisan has grown, as we have grown as a company, I'm getting more into the idea of getting back to just doing fewer appointments, having the vehicles decked out as mobile workshops so that we can do more of this kind of stuff on site. In the past, what it's been is like, well, we're doing 4 a day. We have only this much time. We'll have to come and do a return visit. And I don't like that as much personally. Again, I've done both and we're kind of going back. So what was I talking? I was talking about drinking more coffee. Hold on. Questions about anything so far? Skylar, hopefully that's.
Yeah. I don't know if it's me that's echoing or not, but so making one of those dowels, that sounds great. I figured I'd have to do that and drill a hole and glue in a new pin somehow. But this might be kind of a dumb question, but then how do you get it in there? I don't know.
No, it's not a dumb question. It's totally.
I don't know if you're going there, but
yeah.
Do you have to take off? What does it look like inside the piano? Do you put it in from the underside? Do you do it from take the action out? I don't know.
Okay, that's a great question. So with what we're talking about, absolutely take the action out, put it to the side so that you have free access to the inside cavity of the key bed. Then you're going to go underneath the piano, and then you're going to see this. This is literally what you're going to see. You're going to kind of look up there and okay, here's where the pedal's connecting. Great. I need to remove this pin. And what happens is this will fall down. And guess what? That dowel goes, there's literally a spot for it right there. It goes right there. So that's what you'll do. Now, what I have found is I will have to make 4 or 5 cuts. Because I'll kind of all right, is it gonna, nope, it's jammed, it's not right. Okay, oh shoot, I cut too much off, another try. Something like that. So, but this, Skylar, is what you're going to be looking at.
You said this is a Samick, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And this is going to be fairly close to.
Probably be the same.
Yeah. And so, but what you'll do is you'll look through, because there's going to be a hole cut from the bottom of the key bed, and you'll look and be like, okay, I can see that this pin goes up inside and goes to that damper lever tray right there. Boom. I got it locked in there. And I put it in here, we're good. Then you would adjust that pedal rod. Oh, that thing is gone. Then you'll adjust that pedal rod up or down so that you have the right amount of lost motion. That's a good question, but yes, I will take that out. And once I have everything out, that's also a good time to really lubricate where these dowels are meeting, whether it's the damper tray or whether it's some kind of a sostenuto system, lubricating all those pivot points as well.
Did you put a small punching at the end of that dowel?
Yes.
On the rod?
I will if it doesn't already have something like this. So this one already has a punching on either side, one on the tray and one on the swing arm. So I'll leave that to say, I'll inspect it just to make sure, and I'll lubricate both, but that one is good. And if it does have that, it's a good point, whoever was at you, Justin. I'll also have on hand a varying thicknesses of balance rail, white balance rail punchings, like the the fabric or the felted ones, because those are like the perfect size to go onto these, depending on what thickness you want to do. So that's balance rail, white punchings. Right?
That's
right?
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, yeah, that's a pretty common problem for pianos that have been moved. Usually, I find that dowel is not where it's supposed to be. It's a pretty easy fix, you know. If it's in there, if it's not missing, you just gotta connect it. And then same for the springs. I always carry a lot of springs because we've had pianos moved by other people, and then the spring is missing by the time it gets there. I mean, it happens. That's happened actually 2 or 3 times. So I do carry extra springs because I've got in there and the spring is just completely gone. And so you press the pedal and there's nothing there, and that's not great. So I would carry springs, and if the piano had just been moved and the pedal is not working, the left pedal, then it's or the right pedal. It's either that dowel or maybe a spring is missing.
Where do you get extra springs?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask.
I think they carry them at Shaft. I've ordered some from Shaft before. They are like I only can find like one size, I think. The thing is, my mentor gave me a whole bunch too, so I have those, and he had some that were like thinner, and I've been using those. But I'll look around and see where I can find more. Because sometimes they're too fat. They won't fit into the recess that's drilled in there.
I've got a question about springs. So David, when you're talking about adjusting it, if it feels too hard, I have a customer who has a Steinway. They say like, when I play for a long time, it hurts my foot. Have you ever like cut off a little bit of the spring to make the spring shorter so it's less strong?
I have. I've done that, but it didn't make much of a difference. So I removed the spring, and they were happy with it. So these are the Steinway, Skylar?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Steinways usually will have 2 springs. They'll have a spring on the swing arm somewhere, whether it's a leaf spring or a coil spring, and then they'll have a spring on the Trapwork on the tray. So the damper tray. Can you guys hear that train?
Yeah, we can hear it.
We have to do a lot of recording, and I'm just like, I just know it'll be like I'll do this like gnarly awesome take, and I'll be like, and that's what you, and then it'll be. Anyways, the tray will have a spring to it, so I will leave that spring, but remove the one below in the Trapwork area.
Okay.
And so that has given me a lot of success because it's still doing what it needs to do. The tray is still moving down so that the dampers aren't sticking. There's still enough pressure. But yeah, you can try. I would, before I cut anything, just try removing it and seeing if everything works and if it feels better.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. This area is usually a tricky one because a lot of times where these points meet, there'll be leather on both sides, and sometimes it's they're rounded and they're kind of hard to glue, and so and you'll have to glue on new leather right here because it'll be crusty or corroded. So what I usually do, I'll get some blue tape, and so I'll go ahead and put some glue on there, drape my leather over there, and then wrap it so that it's cinched down. And again, that tacky glue dries pretty well within 15-20 minutes, and I'll remove it and it's good to go. I'm a big fan of making everything look factory. I mean, I think we've talked about that. It's like, make it look like nobody ever touched this, like it was factory. I think there's a saying in like the wilderness is like, take
no
only
trace.
Yeah, take memories and leave only footprints or something like that.
Take only pictures, leave only footprints.
Yes, yeah, that's that same principle. Take that principle into the work you do so that it just kind of embodies and it honors the people that did it. Like, show honor to them by making it at a level that they would be proud of too. Because back in the day, those guys and girls were just phenomenal artists and craftspeople. Absolutely insane. Sorry, I've got like all that grease on my hands. I'm like, bleh. It's pretty simple. All this Trapwork stuff, if you just kind of breathe through it and just take notes and just slowly go one thing at a time. And that's another thing that I used to do is I would be like, okay, I'm just going to take this one thing off at a time. I'm going to take this part off and I'm going to go ahead and redo this and then put it back. Okay, good. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this section off and do it. Instead of taking all three off at once, and then you're just like, what in the world? That's another way of doing it too, where it's just one at a time. It takes a little bit longer, but it's definitely worth it if it's going to save you time in the end. Pretty straightforward. I mean, that's the thing with a lot of piano stuff. And once you actually dig into it and break it down, it's like, okay, that makes sense. You just have to see it and just kind of see behind the curtain, really. And I think that's the thing, you know, it's not rocket science. And I feel like a lot of times, I remember when I started, there's so many technicians that made it look like they were like, oh no, I'm the only one that knows how to do trap work because it's so hard. And it's just like, yeah, good luck, kid. I'm like, oh, okay. That's just not the case. And that's what we do here. We just break it down. Like, this is what it is. Take your time. Come back here every other day and tell us if you need any questions about it. But yeah, it's not that hard, but it does require knowing what to do. And hopefully this is helpful so you at least know some of what to do. Am I seeing van pics? Is that what I'm seeing kind of pop up?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I can't even see it, but yeah.
Another big one for trap work is the block of felt on the right pedal. Sometimes you got to slice that. I always talk about that because it's so common.
Okay,
here.
that is a great. Victor brought up a good point. And this is especially, I don't know why, but it feels like it's another Steinway thing, especially with Steinways, is that they will have the damper pedal. You know, you have the damper, comes down here, you have the rod that goes up, and it presses the piston up. But what happens is on the bottom side of the piano, there'll be what feels like a 2-inch thick block of felt. And it's like a hard felt, and it's meant to stop that damper lever from going too far up. So it makes it so that your dampers can't go too far up or your pedal can't go too far down, whatever you want to say it. 9 times out of 10, I'm with Victor. I'm slicing a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of that stuff off just so that it gets the right amount of throw. That's what I call it. You want that pedal, and you can feel it. It's like when you go and play the piano, and you press that down. It's like, man, my feet feel like they want to go further. They feel like it wants to go further. And sure enough, you'll go underneath the piano and see that big old block of felt. Just take a knife and slice some of that off to where you're like, okay, that feels right.
Yeah, that's incredibly important for advanced players, especially, you know, because it's not just pedals all the way down, pedals all the way up. You know, you're going to use the entire range of that pedal. So if you only have 1/2 inch of movement, there's only so much pedaling you can do. But, you know, if you have 1.5 inches, yeah, that's quite a bit. So it's pretty important. Yeah, I see it on every single concert grant I worked on, Steinway. Everyone needs to have it cut off or cut in half.
Yeah. And it's fun to watch them, the artist or the customer come in and be like, because they'll usually complain or, before I do it, I always mention, hey, I'm going to do this. I think this will make it better. I don't just do it and they're like, wait a second, I loved my pedal before and you just ruined it. Don't do that. So I'll usually tell them before. I'm sure Victor does the same thing. But when they play it, they're like, oh, whoa. And they just kind of light up and then they start playing a bunch of stuff that they were just playing that they couldn't play just right. It's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. And that's such a good point, Victor. That's an easy fix, but a big payoff in the end. There's really 2 parts to this. There's the Lyre servicing, which we've gone through and what needs to happen there. And then there's the trap work. some people could say, well, it's all connected. And yes, it is all connected, but I like to separate things out. I like to break things off into sections just so that we can chew on them easier. And this Trapwork area is that.
David, when you're doing service calls related to quote unquote pedal issues or things of that nature, how often do you think it's more related to the Trapwork versus into the Lyre section? Or is it just hit or miss and you just never know?
Definitely favoring more towards the Lyre. Yeah, definitely there. Because usually it's, especially with Steinways, Steinway's getting so much love today from it's usually where the pedals are hooked inside in the Lyre box, you know, and how they're you know, there's leathers and felts inside there that can corrode, and Steinway specific, the pedals are attached to this little steel rod, and they're, you know, you have the pedal and then they have this little bracket that screws on, and that bracket screw can get loose and needs to be tightened because that felt or leather has worn, and sometimes you have to replace that. And so that can be a lot of issue where it's creaking, squeaking, or just has a lot of sloppiness to it.
Right. So you're more likely to see something there in the pedal box itself or bracing to the Lyre, those type of things, than you would necessarily with the Trapwork, unless there's squeaks that are up in the Trapwork that you need to address.
Exactly. And usually those squeaks are pertaining to the springs and how those, and I would say 9 times out of 10, it's a leaf spring that when this is swinging up, it's causing issue. And usually that's because the felt or leather there, it's usually leather, has been worn or is corroded and it's making kind of a creak. So you can just simply lubricate that with some super lube, and usually that will fix it. But this is more of a, hey, we're going to overhaul this. The customer just wants this done, and we can do everything in just one fell swoop.
Another
Yeah,
question
I went to
related.
the-
Question related.
Oh, go ahead, Michael. Go.
No, you go, Victor.
No, you go ahead.
Go, Victor.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll go. No, there's a bootmaker like there's a bootmaker like 10 seconds from my house, you know. And yeah, I went over and he was like, yeah, I have tons of scraps. He's like, I always have bags, so I'm gonna be going to pick some up and also get some boots made from him. And I was like, man, this guy's been here this whole time. And so that's pretty neat. I've been hanging out with those guys. They're pretty cool.
Like he makes custom boots.
Yeah, he makes cowboy boots. You know, down here in South Texas, it's a pretty big deal. And so he makes handmade cowboy boots, and he's fixing some of my boots right now. I wear boots all the time, but they're pretty cool guys. And yeah, you know, you always learn. You can take things from other trades, and so I've been hanging out with those guys. They're pretty cool.
You just hit on one of the things that is like one of my favorite parts about being a piano technician. And that is the world that we get to be in with other creatives, whether they're glass blowing, shoe building, you know, boat making, all of, you know, we all get to gel together, and it's fun. I didn't think that was going to be the case, because I look at somebody who's a metal worker or glass blowing, I'm like, oh, they're not going to want to, but no, they're like, wait a second, you work on pianos and you tune, like that's so fun to work and to be a part of that community. And I highly recommend just going into, you know, these aprons are custom, and we went to, they're from Aurochs Leather, which is a local leather company, and they're family owned. And I was fascinated with what they're doing, and they're just asking me as many questions about what's the oldest pianos and what is this. It's such a fun thing to be in. And so yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that boot making, saddle making, you know, all of that stuff. I mean, we're like cousins to all of these things, and that's been a lot of fun. I didn't expect that. When I got into it.
Yeah. Well, I also recommend just, you know, maybe trying to dive into something else, maybe not seriously, but just, you know, maybe work on something else, because whatever you learn in other trades or skills, you're definitely gonna be able to translate a lot of that stuff over Well, it's your shop skills. Before I was a piano technician, I worked a lot on cars and a lot of things like that. And all those skills, I mean, it just comes right over, just the muscle memory of using screwdrivers or, problem solving. It's all the same. So I would try to get as much shop skill time as you can.
Yeah. You'll see when you come here, but I'm really into bicycles. Like before I did BMX biking, I was going to be the sponsor. Now I was really into biking. But I would work on bikes before I started working on pianos. So from the age of like 8 to 14, I was just all into bikes. And then I found pianos and I'm like, wait a second, this, the mechanisms inside there. So I totally agree with you. And it's so true. Oh, that's a cool Land Cruiser. Oh, I want one so bad. Anyways.
So, David, my question was related to, I was working on a Grand the other day. I'll have to go back and look at it in more detail, but the una corda wasn't working. I actually got underneath there. When you press the pedal, nothing happened. So I went up and actually, instead of worrying about the Lyre system, I was moving what you were demonstrating with the lever. And it didn't seem like it was touching the action. Now, I didn't have time to pull the action out and look at that, but thoughts on things where it wouldn't be like the metal piece of that Trapwork not touching the action to shift the action. Would it be that maybe somebody had notched the wood in that section, or it's damaged in that section? I guess I'll have to pull the action to look at that. But what are some of the thoughts that come to mind when you hear just anecdotally from a customer, hey, this is happening?
My number one thing is maybe it's just the fact that that has way too much lost motion. Like it's not even getting where it needs to be. So that would be my first, cross my fingers, hope that that's what it is. In 25 years, I think this happened 2 or 3 times where the wood in the key frame was so indented, was so worn or broken that it wasn't catching. And
that's kind of what I'm afraid of, that it's broken in that section because when it got pushed in, it got damaged or something of that nature, which would mean you would have to do some sort of repair on the frame itself.
I've had to cut out a square section and graft a new piece to it, like a hard rock maple, something stiff like that. And then the other thing that has happened and is that the top of one of these has broken off. And so I was young and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get some JB Weld and I'll put that on. Or nope. What I ended up doing was I cut these brackets so that it was up further, and that ended up working because I just needed a little bit.
Yeah.
And so
I'm thinking of it in the right way of where the potential issues are then.
Yes, you are, exactly. And I actually was going to talk about that. So many of you that are here, I don't know, a year and a half or 2 years ago, so much of the stuff that we were talking about was really skill related and like learning stuff. And the questions were kind of like, what should key dip be? Not it wasn't that basic, but it's just so fun to be like, the questions that I get from you are just like so at another level. And they're also very business oriented. Like, hey, I know the skills. Now I just need to make money at it. And so that's been fun. So I appreciate that. And it's been fun to see everybody grow to like this level of like, hey, I know the skill stuff, but what do I charge for this? I'm in this situation with this customer, Michael. I just saw your calendar. I'm like, yes, so cool. Stacy, my first service call is like an hour away.
I'll call him.
I got lucky. My first service is 10 minutes away, so it's practically right around the corner from my house.
I gotta go pick up an upright.
Pick up an upright?
Yeah, I lent my girlfriend an upright for her school. She's an elementary music teacher, and they had a talent show. They don't have a piano, so I lent them a piano for the talent show. I gotta go pick it up now.
That's too sweet.
This isn't like I
This
lent
isn't
her a
like I
sweater.
lent her a sweater.
What do you mean you're gonna go just pick it up?
Yeah, I mean, well, uprights, to me, it's like, it's just an upright. If it was a ground, that's a different story. But I just gotta go pick it up and then bring it back to the house, and then I'll go get a haircut.
You do have that
It's a light day to day.
experience.
Maybe the school will buy it.
Yeah, yeah, they need to get one. But I will say, yeah, as a piano technician, you are gonna get offered a lot of pianos, so they'll just come through your hands. It's been nice, just to have some on hand to use for stuff.
Oh, totally. Yeah, they weren't free, but next to free. But we have a bunch of pianos coming in.
You guys see that?
More and more pianos coming in daily. Nice, beautiful Samics for us to work on. For a hot minute, I was like, maybe I can get Classic to work with Yamaha and we could be a Yamaha school. But I talked to the owner of Classic, and he's like, "Are you sure you want that? Because that's not what those aren't the problematic pianos out there." I'm like, shoot, you're right. It's the Samics.
Yeah, I do have news.
He's got a good point, David.
Yeah, that is true. I do have news about Yamaha. Here in our music education association, right? They do sessions every year. I'm sure every other state at your convention they'll have sessions for music teachers. But we're gonna submit a session for piano maintenance for choir directors and fine arts directors. But we also got sponsored by Yamaha though, so they're gonna provide all the pianos if we get selected to do the session. Yeah, they're like, yeah, we'll give you whatever pianos you want. Just let us know what pianos you want, and we'll take them. Yeah,
that's huge. That's amazing.
Yeah, I became really good friends with the representative for Texas because she was there last year, and we hung out with them the entire thing. And they had a piano salon. They had all their pianos there. We met one technician from Japan came. He was the head of the piano planning division. So he was really cool. He was like, I want to know everything that you think is wrong with Yamaha pianos. And so we talked to him for 3 hours, and he was recording everything. He's like, show me in the piano what you think's wrong. And we would show him, he'd record it, and he's like, okay, we're gonna work on this when we get back. And so we told him a lot of, there's really not that many problems, but it was just a lot of little things, and they were just super appreciative. They're like, we want to know how we can make these pianos better. So that was super fun. And so hopefully we'll get selected, and we'll get to have some cool Yamaha pianos for our session.
You're doing your first session, and are you gonna have a booth and everything too?
If we do the session, we'll probably have a booth then, so that people can come and if they want to come and ask questions and stuff afterwards, or pick up some stuff.
A free tuning raffle because they need all their names and numbers. How did that go for you, Mike? Earlier this year?
Yeah, I didn't get being the first time I'd done it, I didn't get a ton of business, but I did get a couple of different things, a couple of good leads. And they did reach back out, and they're doing some deals for people that return. So I'm still trying to determine whether I want to do next year, but I probably will. But yeah, I did a raffle like Stacy said for a free tuning, and then I got a banner from the PTG plus my company banners and stuff that. So
that's the thing. You have it all made. You just
I have it all made.
So
it's just the booth costs, and
the next time you'll be literally. Every booth I ever did, I was just on my feet the whole day. Hi, come here, grabbing people. Here, do you want a free pencil? Hey, do you want to fill out this raffle? They'd be like, I don't have a piano. I'm like, do you know someone that does? Fill it out for them. Yeah. Do a good turn daily.
Yeah. Victor, one thing: if you don't already have it, buy pencils. The teachers and stuff love pencils.
So
get pencils.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, we're gonna need to get a lot of merch.
Victor, you and Rams always crack me up because we'll be talking and it'll be just and I'll be and you'll be, oh yeah, and I my dad's the best friends of the owner of this and this. I'm like, wait, what? Oh yeah, I just talked to the representative of the Yamaha division, and they were asking me, what? It's just wait.
Yeah, I don't know. The Lord's been good. We've been having a lot of, just cool stuff always happens, I feel, thankfully. But yeah, we're excited for that. And we're also getting this together so that we can give it to the university, because we did get the university back, but now they want to take the piano department in a whole new direction for piano care. So they're like, yeah, we need to figure out a schedule for everything and when to do everything. Yeah, we got the university back. That was a whole, oh my gosh, that was a whole thing. It was a mess. They thought I was somebody else, and somebody else had done something to a piano, and they're like, Victor did it, get him out of here. And it was like a big deal. And so we had to have a meeting with all the staff, and they were like, as soon as I got into the meeting, they're like, you're not Victor. I was like, no, I'm Victor. They're like, oh, well, then I have you confused with somebody else. And so, it was a mess. But that's the whole thing. The piano maintenance right now and everybody that works on the pianos has been a mess. So we're like, that's it. Like, we're starting over. And so we need to put a regiment together for them, a system, so they know how often to do everything. So we're putting this course together for the university and for the section.
Yeah, and you have all their piano info, so we could like make a really nice, the schools love it when I send them like a spreadsheet of everything, where all the pianos are located, when the last tuning was, what it was. It can do that all in Gazelle. You can just export all of that, and it's just like so beautiful, and they don't even know what they have, so they're like, thank you.
Yeah, if you can do like a hot map of a campus map with the dots of where the pianos are, that'd be cool.
Actually, you can do that. If you pin them, you can upload the pins to Google Maps, and it would, no, you literally could do that. That's a cool idea, Michael.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, there's a lot there.
We got David's done.
Victor, if you get in, TMEA proves that. I'll go to your session. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun. Yeah, we're trying to get as many choir directors. You know, we've been telling people, we've been getting ideas of like what do they want to hear, and there is going to be a side of, since my degree's in voice and choir and teaching choir, and you know, it's going to be on how to use your piano correctly in the choir room. So it's going to be half how to take care of your piano, how often, how to do things like that, and then how to utilize your piano in your room. So it's going to be fun.
Ooh, I would love that info. I don't even know that info. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
I think you got to do an article for the Southwest musician.
Oh yeah, that'll be cool too.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Yeah, I forget about that. Yeah, we get those every month. They're pretty good.
Yeah, you could repurpose that in like 10 ways. You just have to build it once. Oh, yeah. This is going to be exciting. That makes me want to man a booth. David, when are we doing a booth that I could man? I'm ready to do a booth. Let's do a booth.
So with from my tenure, I guess it wasn't a tenure, but I was involved pretty heavily with Piano Technician Academy. We would do the conventions, and I don't think I'm a booth guy. Like I don't know, Stacy, you're a booth person. There's booth people and there's non-booth people. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
It's like a challenge. It's like a race, right? Like you trained. Did you train so that you can like, how many contacts can you make? Like how many people can you talk to? How many people can you like it's just like this like challenge, and you're so exhausted, but you're like, wow, like it's kind of it uses all your adrenaline, and then
it's right up Stacy's alley. When she wants to place 400 calls to try to get new appointments going, a booth is nothing to her.
Yeah, I've been training.
I feel like my body's burning a lot of calories just listening to this. Like it's just like
oh, that just sounds so fun though, but it's exhausting. No, it is. Mm-hmm.
When was the last convention you went to, David? National convention.
The last. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.